Hey everyone, welcome back to History's Mysteries, where the past is never quite what it seems. Today, we're stepping into a story that sounds almost too bizarre to be real. A story of convulsions, collapsing bodies, eerie music, and people dancing until they dropped dead. No, this isn't some medieval rave gone wrong. This is the chilling, unexplained tale of the dancing plague of 1518. Let's get into it. Our story begins in the summer of 1518 in the city of Strasbourg, part of the Holy Roman Empire at the time, and what is now modern-day France. It was hot. Tensions were high. The city was struggling with famine, disease, and a series of religious and social upheavals. People were on edge, but nothing could have prepared them for what was about to happen. It started with one woman. Her name was Frau Trofea. She walked into the street one day and began to dance. No music, no audience, no reason, just dancing. Her limbs jerked, her body twisted, her feet pounded the cobblestones. Hours passed, then a day, then two. She couldn't stop. Within a week, more than 30 others had joined her. Men, women, even children. By the end of the month, over 400 people were reportedly dancing uncontrollably in the streets of Strasbourg. Witnesses said they danced with wild expressions, their faces contorted with pain or ecstasy. Some cried out for help. Others collapsed, only to rise again and keep going. They danced for days on end, without rest, food, or water. And then, they began to die. Heart attacks, strokes, sheer exhaustion. This wasn't a celebration. It was a crisis. City authorities were horrified. They called on doctors, priests, and local officials for help. What was causing this? Was it demonic possession? A curse? Some unknown disease? The doctors had a theory. Hot blood. They believed the afflicted were suffering from overheated blood and needed to dance it out. So, in an act of dark irony, they set up a stage in the city center and even hired musicians, hoping to encourage the dancers to finish their frenzy and collapse in exhaustion. It didn't work. More people joined, more people died. Eventually, authorities reversed course. They banned music, closed the dancing areas, and carted the remaining afflicted off to a mountaintop shrine to pray for forgiveness. And just like that, it stopped. So what happened? What could cause hundreds of people to dance themselves into the grave? Let's look at the theories. One of the oldest explanations is mass hysteria, or what we now call mass psychogenic illness. The idea that intense stress, fear, and trauma can manifest physically in a community. Remember, 1518 was a time of starvation, disease, and superstition. The people of Strasbourg were deeply religious, and many believed in curses, saints, and divine punishment. If enough people believed they were cursed, or feared they might become cursed, their bodies might respond in strange, uncontrolled ways. The dancing was a kind of psychological release, or perhaps a shared psychosis. Another popular theory? Ergot poisoning. Ergot is a hallucinogenic mold that grows on damp rye. When consumed, it can cause convulsions, hallucinations, and spasms. Sounds familiar, right? Some have argued that an outbreak of ergotism could have sparked the plague. But there are problems with that theory. Ergot poisoning usually affects people in isolated clusters, not entire towns. And it doesn't explain the duration or the communal nature of the dancing. Still others point to religious mania. During this period, the cult of Saint Vitus was widely known. Vitus was the patron saint of epileptics and dancers, and people believed that if you angered him, he could curse you with uncontrollable dancing. In fact, Similar outbreaks were reported in other parts of Europe during the 14th and 15th centuries. These weren't isolated incidents. Dancing plagues occurred in places like Aachen and Metz. Hundreds, sometimes thousands of people affected. Always inexplicable. Always terrifying. Could it be that belief in the curse of St. Vitus was strong enough to cause real physical symptoms? Modern researchers suggest a combination of all these factors: psychological stress, religious fear, group psychology, and maybe even toxins in the environment. But that doesn't fully explain it. Because there are stranger details, too. Some records say the dancers moved in trance-like states. Some reportedly foamed at the mouth. Others were said to have broken bones and kept dancing. And the timeline is still debated. Some historians argue the dancing plague lasted just a few weeks. Others claim it stretched into September. What we do know is this: hundreds of people danced uncontrollably for no clear reason. Dozens died as a result. No one has ever found a definitive explanation. And then, just like it began, it stopped. The story faded into legend, but it has never truly disappeared. In the 20th century, psychologist Carl Jung referenced the dancing plague as an example of collective unconscious in action. Modern mass hysteria events, from laughing epidemics in Tanzania to fainting spells in schools, have been compared to Strasbourg. But nothing has matched the scale and terror of 1518. The dancing plague stands as one of history's most chilling reminders that the mind and body can turn against us in ways we still don't fully understand. So what do you think? Was this mass hysteria? A toxic fungus? A curse from a forgotten saint? Or something even stranger? Could it happen again? Let me know your theories in the comments. And if you enjoyed this dive into one of the weirdest chapters in medical and social history, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Here on History's Mysteries, we're always chasing the truth, no matter how strange the story. Until next time, stay curious.